Welcome to Journaling Spring. I am so excited to spend the next 4 weeks with you journaling spring as it unfolds before our eyes. So at the beginning of these classes, I think it's always helpful for us to remind ourselves, why is it important that we spend time nature journaling? And there's really many reasons, but the first reason is nature journaling helps us to slow down and to notice what is around us. And we may think that we do that naturally, but often it takes having a reason to slow down and notice things for our mind and heart to become a bit more connected to what is happening around us. Well, another important reason for us to be nature journaling is for us really to get a better understanding of the nature we are surrounded by. We as humans are sort of the highest life form on this planet, and because of that sort of highest life form status, we have a responsibility to care for all that is sort of below us, if you will. And that means we can do a better job of that if we understand plants and animals and insects. If we understand the way the natural world operates, we're just that much more equipped to take care of this planet and be better citizens of it. Nature journaling also fosters wonder and curiosity, and that is what helps us to grow in our souls and in our minds. Nature journaling helps to fill our souls with wonder and amazement and awe and inspiration. And then with our heart full of that, our mind is better able to receive the knowledge that we're gleaning as we spend time in nature. Rachel Carson says it so beautifully in this quote: "If facts are the seeds that later produce knowledge and wisdom, then the emotions and impressions of the senses are the fertile soil in which the seeds must grow." Now, Beth Ann Burton, on that wonderful podcast, Journaling with Nature, always asks her guests, do you nature journal from the head or from the heart? And I want to encourage you that in fact it is both. Let nature, as you go out and observe her, or even just look out the window, let nature fill your soul up with awe and inspiration and curiosity. And then let those emotions be that fertile soil in which you put knowledge that you gain from asking questions and finding answers, from recording things in your notebook and then going back and reading them again. Do you know that we retain so much more information if we can immediately, after hearing or learning something, get it written down in some shape or form? And then if we can review that information within the next few days again, it will stick with us even longer. And that's the beauty of our nature journals, because especially during this class, we're really challenging ourselves to be in those journals weekly, several times a week, maybe even daily. And as the month goes on, we can flip back through those pages and remember again the things that we've noticed and learned. We can even keep this journal for years to come and look back and add things. And I guarantee you, it's going to stick with you so much longer because we've put it down in our journals. For those of you that are new to this practice, but actually for all of us, I just want to talk for a few minutes about journaling from a place of abundance and not from scarcity. So journaling from a place of abundance is reminding ourselves that this is important. Nature observation and nature recording is important. It is saying it's important for me to do this. My observations have something unique that no one else in the world has. It's saying, I can do this even if I am a beginner. Now, the voice of scarcity comes in. I know you all are familiar with it because I personally am. The voice of scarcity says, I'm too busy for this. It's not important. My work is ugly. I see that I'm not as good as so-and-so. Maybe I'll just give up. That is the voice of scarcity, trying to get you to stop this practice that is so important for your soul. So I just want to challenge you as you get into the regular practice of nature journaling, that you be aware of the voices in your head, and that when you hear those negative opinions or negative suggestions, that you reject them and say to yourself, no, I am going to journal from the place of abundance, from the place that says nature is important. My time in nature is important. Taking time to record this is a way of showing gratitude for all these gifts I have been given in nature. So keep that in mind. We are journaling from abundance and not from scarcity. As we begin our nature observation this spring, I also want you to think about the concept that nature is speaking to us. Now, she doesn't use an audible human voice. Instead, she speaks through object lessons, through things that happen in front of our eyes, through the smells that we breathe in, through the sounds that we hear, through things that we touch, even sometimes through things that we taste. So we have to be a little bit more aware and attuned in order to catch these messages from nature. But springtime is a time when nature speaks even louder than normal. She is teaching us messages of hope, of joy, of new life, of dead things coming again into life. And nature isn't fickle like we are. Our emotions often interrupt our truth thoughts and get us to believe something that's not true. Nature doesn't come to a year where she says, I'm too depressed to break into spring. This has been a very hard year. How about I stay dormant for another 9 months? She doesn't do that. Every year, without fail, spring comes again and teaches us about hope and new life and beauty and joy, and that difficulties and problems don't last forever. There is always a change in season. So as we go through the next 4 weeks, each week I am going to have one little prompt on our nature journaling worksheets just for you to be aware of the messages nature might be speaking to you. And she might say them through smells, through sounds, through things that you see, just through things that you observe and then apply to specific situations that you might be in. Write those down in your journal, because sometimes nature speaks different messages to you each year. And depending on our life situation and circumstances, you're going to be able to hear different messages at different times. So keep your senses alive and alert. All right, let's talk about the basic structure of the next 4 weeks. So each week you will be receiving this curriculum guide, and this is really meant to help you understand what I've sent and how you can best utilize it for your nature observation and recording. Now, I always include more ideas and activities than you should be able to get done in a week. So you have to be the one to choose what will most connect with you, what will help you connect the most with nature, what time limitations do you have, and you'll have to prioritize what's best for you. But other than all these activities that I send, really the heart and soul of nature journaling is for you to get out in nature yourself. And there's two ways I would really love for you to do that. One is by choosing a sit spot, and that is a place that you really have easy access to. Mine is my back patio. I can go there at any time of the day, of the week. I can even sit in my dining room and observe the patio. So on a cold day like today, when it's only, I think, 37 degrees, I can do my observations from inside. So find a sit spot, something that's really easy. You could spend 5 minutes there. You could spend 30 if you have that opportunity. And then, if possible, once a week, I would love for you to be able to go to maybe a hiking trail or a park, somewhere where if you're in the right state or area or zone for this, somewhere you can observe the spring flowers coming into bloom. This is a very special season of the year, the season of the spring ephemerals. And ephemeral means fleeting. And these flowers spring up on the forest floor, and they're here only for a matter of weeks. They're able to be there because there's no leaves on the trees yet. And so the sunshine filters down unhindered and provides them space to grow. But here in Indiana, in about 4 or 5 weeks, there will be leaves all over our trees. No more light for those spring ephemerals. So this is a very, very important time of year. So many treasures to be found. I'd love for you to find a place you can go to see these special flowers. Now, other than the spring ephemerals, each week we're going to focus on a different bird, a different tree blossom, and a different bulb. And I don't want us to just learn about 4 different birds and 4 different bulbs and 4 different tree blossoms. I really mean for us to begin our discovery of all birds, of all tree blossoms, of all bulbs by focusing on these 4. And hopefully that'll just get our minds more aware of these categories. And when we go outside, we will more readily recognize these things. I know in preparation for today's class, I have been preparing the maple blossom information. And yet, when I go outside, I'm seeing other trees at the same stage, like the cottonwood. And just seeing the differences in the buds as they grow and develop, and also the similarities, is so exciting. So use these specific examples as just sort of a beginning point to keep your eyes open for all kinds of tree buds, birds, and bulbs. One other thing I love for us to do in these 4 weeks is to experiment with some different page layouts, just so we don't get stuck in the rut of always plopping a picture right in the middle of the page and putting some words around it. I think sometimes experimenting with a different layout gets our mind thinking in different directions, and it can be helpful. Now, if it's too much of a distraction for you, if you are a beginner, this is your first class, don't worry about that so much. This is just for people that need to be helped out of the rut that they might be stuck in. Because again, we need to enforce this very important principle that nature journaling is not about creating works of art that we frame on the wall. Really, it is at the very heart and center of this, us connecting with nature, observing what is out there so that we can care for it, so that we can experience gratitude in our hearts for what we enjoy. It's about this. It's not about our pretty pictures. So the more we can put down in our journals without fear, the more we can journal from a place of abundance, the better. Now, before we go to our video of nature journaling assignment ideas for this week, I want you to begin this class with one quick exercise. And this involves getting out your new sketchbook and opening it to the very first page. If you want to have a title page that says the date on it, fine, that's fine. You can put that in first. I just went straight for this page. I want you to take a pencil So there's no pressure for beauty or organization or anything. Get a pencil, write April in the middle of your page, and then from memory, write down everything you think is going to happen this month. Think about the weather that you might experience. Write down a list of flowers you're excited to see. Make a list of insects that you might cross paths with. Maybe birds that you're looking forward to seeing. Don't consult any websites to see what blooms in your area. Don't consult your diaries from last year. Just write this all down. What do they call these? Brain dumps or something? Write it all down, because this is just a way to sort of get our gears turning, to see what we remember, and to get our minds open to seeing these things again. And then as the month goes on, it's going to be so fun to look back and see what we remembered. And also, as new things happen, we could add them maybe in a different colored pencil or different marker. We could add to that page things that actually do happen that we forgot about. So I'm not going to show you mine in this video because I don't want you to see my list before you make your own list. I'll show you my list in the nature journaling activities video. So grab your journal and pencil and make that April list.